It's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it! Well,
Fabulous solo goal by pierre-emerick.
champions.
Good evening. Welcome to the Arsenal Lounge. This is Friday Fan Cam. I'm Lavanja and I'm with special guest Kesh at the moment. There's a few more due to be coming on, but we thought we'd do this because there's been loads to talk about over the last week or so. So I just thought I'd give everyone a chance to say their piece. Everyone was fuming, referee issues, VAR decisions, appeals, sending offs. Great performances. It's been a crazy week. So I thought, you know what? It's a Friday night. Let's do fan cam. Let's see what's to come on and talk about it. And Kesh, I'm sure you've been talking about it a lot with everyone, bro. So what you made of this crazy week so far?
You know what? Like, I wasn't I wasn't as frustrated as I probably thought I would have been. Like,
Really?
Literally, I took everything into consideration.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we went out there with one poor. It was just one of those weird games that you probably only see like once in how many years. It's in a blue moon. Like, you'll see two players sent off. I can't remember the last time that's even happened to us. You know what I mean? The David Luiz one. Like, for me, I felt it was a pen, but it was never enough to get a sending off for me. Like, Obviously, by the letter of the law, the refs are following the rules. They are following the rules because you can't ref off intentional or unintentional. So, you follow the rules, but then you have to think the lawmakers, the FA, that's something they need to go and look back and decide whether they need to go back to where it used to be, whether if it's the last man, you get sending off. Because that rule only came in to stop people from putting people's shirt back and things like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of contradicts the point of bringing it in the first place. And what you will get is, now you'll probably see players just say, you know what, I'm just going to swipe the man. And for me, that's even more dangerous than someone making an honest attempt, because when you just swipe someone, that means you're not taking any care and you're not worrying about your fellow sportsman's health. So
Yeah, but I mean, you could argue that Luiz did swipe the man against Chelsea the last time he was sent off in that game. Right? It was a very similar situation, right? It was the guy got him behind him. All right, you could argue it's bad defending there, but he swiped the guy, right? So where do you draw the line? I mean, we could go. I wanted to talk about the game a little bit because the whole thing is that the game's kind of been forgotten, and there's other things that have been forgotten. It's like, what's really gone under the radar is tomorrow should have been also Martinez against Leno, right? And everyone's been that hype. We shouldn't have let Martinez go and all that. It's gone under the radar. And then the irony of the fact that Leno's not going to be up against Martinez, and the person who would have been in goal for us would have been Martinez, and now we got Matt Ryan, and we're praying that Matt Ryan is fit. So there's a lot of things we could be talking about, bro. I mean, it depends on which way you want to take this.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I am not a big fan of Leno. I do respect I respect him for his shot stopping. He's a very good shot stopper, but there's a lot of fundamentals that's missing from his game in terms of command in his box. Like, I rarely hear the guy talk. And as a keeper, you've got to be commanding. You've got to make sure your voice is reassurance for your defenders. I've played centre back, and I'm sure every other centre back or defensive players would appreciate someone that talks, make their voice heard. It's actually encouraging when you play with someone that's very dominant, and you know what I mean. Like, and I don't see that from Leno.
See, for you, he doesn't talk enough for you. He's not commanding enough.
He's not commanding enough.
Really?
And for a keeper that we say is meant to be there to help us build from the back, I don't think he's the greatest at it. So, and that's when you see the way he got sent off, that came from that, because he went to approach the ball and he misjudged it. That's from someone who genuinely just isn't reassured with their feet. Because for me, if that was probably Ederson or someone like that, he would have probably touched it and went past the man, rather than just rushing out very unassured of what you're going to do, because he completely misjudged that ball, and that is why it ended up hitting his hand. He never intentionally tried to handball it. He went to hit it, control it on his thigh or whatever, and he missed it, and it just hit his hand.
Yeah, you could always argue. I mean, there's a lot of knock-on effects of things, though, isn't there? I mean, if Luiz hadn't been sent off, then he wouldn't have been on the edge, and then he wouldn't have been worrying. I mean, some people in it, hi to a few of the guys in the chat. Jashir, how you doing? Sebastian, how you doing? Super Chelsea, I don't know what you're doing here, but how you doing? You know, Sebastian's saying he's world class. I mean, I don't know what I think world class is a bit
That's
much.
what I'm saying. That word gets
It's like GOAT is used a lot.
He's a competent goalkeeper to get you top 4. But for me, if for instance that day was to ever come that we get back into top 4, he's not going to be the keeper that you go on to challenge for a title with. He's not.
Okay,
because
fair enough.
You're always going to get a mistake or two, and let's be honest, every keeper has a mistake.
So, are you one of those that would have wanted to keep Martinez then over him? Are you one of the...
Listen, I've said it, I was a big fan of Martinez when he first came to this club.
Fair.
I looked at him, and I know he had a slow start, and he didn't really put up trees. But the day that Martinez got announced, I said, I believe in this keeper. It's a shame that it's taken so long from it is peak or whatever. But some people have late bloom. Some people are late bloomers, and for the age that he actually popped up, it's not so bad because keepers tend to play on for a very long time. Keepers tend to be in rich vein of form in their latter stages of their career. So I was an advocate for keeping Martinez, but you know, this is Arsenal. We tend to do things the left way rather than the right way.
Okay. Well, what about the game itself then? You watched it up to the 44, 45 minutes, and I'd like to hear the guys in chats and everyone. Once the numbers pick up, hopefully as they do pick up, we'll be dropping the link in here so you can come on and have your say. Please hit your likes and subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tight, sit tight as the numbers grow. As I say, we're going to drop links in here. We're going to give you the opportunity to come on and say what you think, you know, about what happened this week. And there's so many different subjects we could be covering. But I mean, the game itself, Kesh, you saw it. I thought we were playing some of the best football I've seen this season. Personally, yeah. I think we were playing really well.
It was liquid football. That's what it was.
Liquid football. That's a good terminology. Yes, 100%.
It was absolutely the best I've seen us play in probably a long while. Long while. Like, it was fluid. Everyone was moving through the lines. There wasn't no one that's just sticking to a position. Everyone just working in such sequence that the harmony was great. Everyone knew what it was doing. Everyone knew what position it was going to pick up. You saw the chemistry. You saw the Pepe's flourishing and actually coming alive. You saw the Saka. Saka started that game electric. Like,
yeah,
he should have had 2 goals. Honestly, you know what I mean.
I'm saying with Partey. Partey started pretty
as well.
Yeah.
In that game, it didn't look like anything was going to go wrong. Anything at all. But when I saw us kept missing chances like that, and I thought, let's not have this typical thing where it comes back to bite us. And that's literally what just happened. It did. Just came back to bite us.
You kind of know when an Arsenal hoodoo is coming.
You know it.
It's usually when you're playing really well and you haven't finished the team off, and you just think to yourself, it's one of those. It's one of those games.
And that's one of those things. Like, this is why I wasn't too worried, because the way I saw us play there, I know within a year or two what you're going to see from this Arsenal, providing we get the right players and everything. You're going to see a installment from Mikel Arteta of that clinical edge, that taking chances is killing games. Let's not give the team that impetus to come back at us, and that will come. It will.
Do you know what? Like, I more and more as I watch us play, we are taking onus. Like, we're controlling games. We're taking over. We're starting to dictate. Whereas before we didn't. We were the team. Like, if you watch Chelsea Spurs yesterday, they sat back and they were soaking it up. Yeah. They had nothing really in midfield. I started to look at that Spurs team yesterday, for example, and I was going, who runs that midfield? Who's going to get that ball? Who's going to collect it, turn, pick a pass? Who's going to dictate? Nobody, right? And I was soaking it up for ages.
And I came on in and I said the same thing. When everyone was getting onto Mikel Arteta, and I said, you are all praising Jose Mourinho, but I see the same thing happening. The only difference is he's got a Harry Kane and a Song who's in exceptional form, and they're just taking every chance they get.
Yeah.
We just never had the Aubameyang's firing, the Lacazette's firing, and we never had someone who's creating. What you've got with Harry Kane now, he's creating and he's actually scoring. But Jose's doing the same thing, but Jose's not getting the treatment that Arteta was getting. Why? Because
Yeah.
one was experienced and one was a novice. But why is the more experienced manager not doing better than someone who's a rookie?
Well, this is it. I mean, the thing we could say about Arteta is we're expecting to see his mistakes on the job.
Exactly.
So, you know, those who are sitting there going mad every time he does make a mistake, it's pointless, because at the end of the day, you know, this is what he's here for. He's here to do his job. He's learning on the job. He's going to make his mistakes. We're just going to have to ride with it. However, you're right. Someone like Mourinho who's been there, done it. He's struggling, and he was relying on two players, and now they're not playing.
And you know what? It's not that I blame Jose Mourinho, because I know what Jose Mourinho can do if players buy into it. But in this era, it's very hard to get players to buy into this. Where you've got a different breed of men in this era. Like, men was manly men back there. Jose can grip you by the neck, and a Lampard or someone like that, and they'll take it. They'll take it. Like, me and someone was talking about it yesterday, and we're both in agreement that if Jose had the likes of Carvalho and all those guys, this Tottenham team will do a lot more better. But what you got is babies. There's a lot of babies in that team.
Yeah.
And not even just Tottenham, there's a lot of babies in this Arsenal team as well. And Jose will try to give them the treatment that he tend to give to other players, and they wouldn't be able to get on board. You've got to be 100% on board with what Jose wants to do. You have to buy into what he wants to do. So that's one of the reasons why I said I'm not happy for Jose Mourinho to come to this team.
Yeah, no, and you know, a lot of people were saying it. A lot of other accounts were saying it. They've also said the same about Ancelotti. You know, he's done all right, Ancelotti, but he hasn't. It's not like you wouldn't say he's done a million miles better than Arteta. So at the end of the day, a name doesn't guarantee you something. You know, there's people who've been doing their jobs for 20, 30 years, but maybe they've lost that motivation and their desire and the drive for it and the hunger for it. Whereas a younger guy, maybe what he lacks in experience, he makes up with in motivation and outside of the box type
and
thinking.
Youthfulness.
Yeah. And they understand modern day and modern times. So, you know, there's a lot to be said for it. But what I was getting at was, we're looking like a team that we were earlier on. We were doing that when he was trying to sort out our defense, and we were all moaning that we were sitting back, etc. And you know, but he hadn't quite worked out the conundrum of what was going the other way.
Yeah, the balance.
And he turned out to be ESR, which was quite a straightforward thing when we all look at it. There was that connector, should we say, the guy that conductor, right?
And I know a lot of people say we've had ESR for quite a while. I understand.
Yeah.
But he came back from an injury. You could say maybe you could have rushed him a lot quicker. Some managers probably would, and that's something he's going to have to learn. He's have to learn when to take the risk. So even with Ødegaard and things, he's have to learn when ESR shouldn't be playing and when Ødegaard should start. I understand you don't want to drop ESR because ESR has been very good. He's been in good form. And even with the selection decisions, sometimes he did let himself down. But that's something he was always going to have a problem with, being the first time in management. And that's just man management skills. And that will come over the next few months. It will.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But I mean, look, so the game was going well. We should have been a couple of goals up, let's be honest. I think I went and make myself a cup of tea, right? And because like it was 45 minutes. I think we were there was a couple of minutes added time. I think we'd already done the added time almost.
44 minutes.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where this added time came from. But I went over to make myself tea, come back, and there's highlights of the goal or the penalty, should I say?
I bet you didn't want that tea anymore.
No, man, I didn't want that tea. Yeah, no. But this is where I'm getting at now. This is where it all starts to go, you know, it all made the week shit and everyone's been moaning and grasping. And I'm hoping there's going to be people in these chats that want to come on and talk about it and got their opinions. But this whole thing now, the game's been changed. We were talking about this on Real Talk on Wednesday with Lee and Turkish, right? And the big point that we come out of it is, what are they doing to our game? Right, because we're trying to improve it. We've got VAR in, right? The VAR is now meant to be cutting out all these errors, but then the cameras, the VAR is also in the hands of humans still. These people are the same idiots that made the mistakes before, ex-referees who were maybe referees before, right? They're still behind these cameras.
The problem is, I understand we're going to blame the refs, but I think the FA needs to be accounted for. It's them that need to take the responsibility, because we can blame refs all we want, but it's them that look and overrule the written laws and things like that. So they need to go back and look at some of these things. Because even with the offside goal against Aston Villa, there's little things in there that are just not quite right. And for years and years, you had Wenger saying these are professional refs, and they're not being. You can't really say anything about it. They don't get punished. Like in football, managers will get sacked, footballers will get sacked, referees will remain. Yeah. Why is it like that? Why can you ref a game and not be take responsibility for your mistakes and things like that?
Yeah, why are you not in front of a camera? Why are you not? Yeah. Why is a journalist not showing you a highlight and saying, "Look at this decision you made. What was your thoughts behind it? And now that you've looked at it, would you have given it?" Why are they not doing that? Something needs to be done.
And you know what? Like the English referees, it's been the standards have dropped, and they keep dropping. And when you look at other countries and their refs, I'm not saying they're perfect and things like that, but I do feel if you can manage to for instance, have a organization where refs in other leagues and things like that. I think every ref can learn from different nations and how they're ref and implement it. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Like, it's going to take quite a while before the standards go back up.
Why not make ex-players refs? Why not? Why is there not enough ex-players becoming refs?
I don't know. But what you're going to find is these referees now, VAR is actually taken away from them. As good as VAR is, it's taking a lot from them because they're not reffing anymore. They're relying on the rules and for VAR to correct it if it's wrong. And that's where we're going wrong.
Well, the problem is cameras now are like nitpicking everything, right? So, look, there's got to be a line where you're not sucking the life out of the game, because I wouldn't have minded, for example, the goal Saka scored against Chelsea, the last game we played, Wolves. He scored a goal, right? Got disallowed. Why did it get disallowed? Because I think it was Lacazette was a marginal. But if that goal was against us before VAR, right, and they replayed that a few times a couple of seasons back, I wouldn't be sitting there going mad saying, "Oh, his shoelace was offside," or "Oh, the guy's arm was offside. That should be disallowed." We would have just gone, "Oh, you know what? It's one of them."
I agree.
You said that, right?
I agree. Like, obviously, we've seen over the years where there's clear,
there's blatant and there's blatant. Yeah.
So it's how do you adjust that to what's it called? To have a leeway against those fine margins.
Where'd you draw the line? Yeah. This is what we were discussing Wednesday. Where do you draw the line before it just gets crazy? And like you're saying, it's slowly being taken out of the ref's hands, isn't it? Because like he's scared he's going to be made to look stupid, right? I don't know, bro. It's one of them. I just think money's thrown into the game is starting to ruin the game in general. If you look at our game right now, it's being thrown in with money right across the board, not just Arsenal. It's been taken more and more away from the fans. I was thinking about this last night. The revenue that fans bring in per season is mattering. I'm not saying it doesn't matter, it does, but it's mattering less and less because of the amount of external money from sponsorship, commercial. So they're starting to care less about us and more about the product and the brand. Yeah. So it's more about the trophy and the money that comes with that trophy and the importance of the commodity, which is the player. So they don't want the player to get injured as much anymore. So then they're making it less contact, less as a contact sport, more about skill. That's how they've started adjusting the game over the last few years, right? And then now they're bringing in VAR, which is meant to eliminate error. But now what it's actually doing is going beyond eliminating error, like the goal line, a ball crossing the line or whatever. And now it's becoming more about every minute little detail, which is now starting to take the joy away from the game in general, you could argue. But
the game's going soft.
It is going soft. I mean, I like to hear what everyone's saying here, what your thoughts are on this. I'm going to do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just drop the link in. If anyone wants to come and have their say, come and have their say. For some reason, I don't know what's going on. The Periscope, the Twitter, Arsenal Lounge isn't working at the moment, which is probably why there's a few less numbers than the norm. But look, if you want to come and have your say, come and tell us what you think about this week, what you saw, how you saw it. What, you know, and you know, we've got a game coming forward. We've got Sebastian coming in. Hope you've got a camera, Sebastian. Are you there? Yes, he is. So look, Sebastian, I'm going to bring you in. Sebastian, are you there? Yo, Sebastian, what are you up to, man? How you doing, Sebastian? Where you at? Where you calling from, bro? Can you hear me?
Sorry, is it working all right?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hear you.
Yeah. Where you calling us from, bro?
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, dude.
That's all right. Look, if you can't hear me, let me know. I'll take you. Can you? Yeah. Okay. So, Sebastian, it's your moment, man. Tell us what do you want to talk about, bro?
I can't really. I can't.
Oh, Sebastian, if I can't hear you, bro.
I'm still quite gutted about the game. The game last night.
Okay. Tell us about it. What you gutted about, bro?
I'll try again. I'll come out and come back in.
All right. You come out. I'll come back in. Cheers. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Sebastian.
Like, we have to understand that we were always going to lose in this run. A loss was coming. Like, we saw David Luiz performing to a standard that we'd like to see him, but you know he's always got that moment of clumsiness in his game where he's going to do something wrong. And
yeah,
when we do manage to get rid of some of this circus, because there is a circus, there's some players in this club that are still producing those circus moments. So you will tend to see a lot of these mistakes come out of this club where you're not looking and thinking, it's the same old usual David Luiz. So it's just time, it's time. And, you just have to look at the positives. And there's been a lot of positives over the last few weeks. And we just have to hope that when we do add more quality, we don't add any more deadwood. We add actually players who are going to be of value, players that's going to produce very good moments in games and things like that. Because when you look at that Luiz goal, that penalty that he's given away, you have to look at what he was doing before that, the first phase. And the first phase was him pushing into a space that was already occupied by the likes of Partey, by the likes of xhaka. That could have been avoided because them two players in there, you would expect them to either win the tackle or make sure that the attack isn't on. But when he goes and pushes into there now, he's left Odin there by himself, and Odin's having to. I can't remember the exact movement that Odin did, but it wasn't great either. It wasn't great.
I mean, look, I think Holding got caught out a little bit, but then at the same time, you could say Luiz didn't spot that space. Well, they both didn't spot that space, because really. It was too far apart.
What Luiz done is, and Odin being the cover, he's either got to stop the runner or he's got to do half and half. And he just backpedaled and didn't make a decision.
Yeah. But then you could argue Luiz shouldn't have crossed over. You could argue he should have just carried on running straight. You could argue, there's a lot of things Luiz was at fault for.
You could argue you should just let him score rather than.
Yeah, you could have. The first thing I shouted out, I thought was a penalty, is just let him score. Let him score. We might as well just go, 1-1 in at half time. We'll come out. We'll still beat them. That was my thoughts on it as well.
Even with 10 men, I thought we could have beaten them because they wasn't doing anything great. But we came out, and this is what I mean. The mentality, there's still a weak mentality there because we've came out, and what we've done is we've sat back so deep. We didn't. When you need that voice in there to say, "Boys, push a yard, 2 yards further forward," because that Martinez shot would have got stopped.
This is where I disagree a little bit. Yeah, I agree they should have shut that shot down sooner, 100%. But I think the Arsenal of old may have capitulated. I think this time we showed a little bit of steel and mentality.
Of course. I'm not saying. I'm saying there's weak individual mentality. As a team, it's getting better. But
a bit more belief. You think you could have still done it. Mad ramblings of a middle-aged man, $5. I don't know if that's just to make you look stupid. Yes, it is. There you go.
Did you see the last chance he had when Bellerin? And I thought, Bellerin, if you had some composure about you there, instead of just whipping it and hoping someone gets on the end of it, you compose yourself and you cut it back to Saka. That's on his strong left foot. If you tell me put a bet on it, I would put a bet on it that Saka would have finished it.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't expect him to miss that. I'm gonna give Sebastian another go. Let's see what Sebastian is like. This is like danger. Though. This is like Russian roulette. Here we go. Sebastian, are you here? Yes,
Yay, finally.
Yes, man. Yes, Sebastian. Where are you based, bro? What area?
I'm near Brighton area.
Brighton, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Then Mandem. Brighton and Mandem, yeah. Okay. So talk to me. What do you want to talk about? Hit us.
Well, firstly, I'm sorry to bring this up again, but I'm still very annoyed about Tuesday, because don't you actually think that with this VAR and with the refs and the officials and all that, don't you think there's a little bit of a bias here towards some other clubs? Because I'm thinking of some of the other incidents that's happened this season, like Mane when he elbowed Tierney in the face, didn't get sent off, didn't get checked. No. Trent Alexander-Arnold had his studs up at Saka, didn't get checked, didn't get sent off. Another one, Bruno Fernandes last week, back heel on Xhaka's Achilles, no card. And there's more. Mustafi last season.
The reason why, though, with that Bruno one, I don't think the ref actually recognised that he trodded on his Achilles. It's only because VAR intervened. It wasn't an obvious.
But didn't VAR at least check these? Because whenever
they did check it. They did check it, but you have to understand the difference. It has to be a, what did they say? Obvious.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous. Why check? Why check it? Why, if you're not going to do anything about it, why check it? What, exactly. just to highlight that he did miss it. That's a point, isn't it? Like
no. The referee blew because he saw it was a foul, but he didn't see how mischievous it was. So obviously VAR checked it, and because it wasn't an obvious mistake, they've just waved it on and they've taken a free kick. But listen, at the end of the day, these decision goes against every club. I
think what Sebastian's saying though, do you not? Is it just us as fans? And Sebastian, correct me if I'm wrong here, bro, what you're trying to say, because I think I feel what you do sometimes, right? Is it just us as fans just being like, because it's our team, we think that we're wronged all the time? Or is it genuinely there is a bias? If you can't argue throughout history, there's been some ridiculous decisions against Arsenal.
There is a bias, but like I've said to many people, you look at the likes of Man U, you look at the likes of Liverpool. These favours will go more for them because they're the team they're in the ascendancy. Like Man United is challenging right now. Liverpool's won a title, City's won a title. You're going to get those favourable decisions when you're champions because there's more pressure on the refs. You know what I mean? But when you're Arsenal and you've not been doing so great over the last few years, those decisions ain't going to go for you. So it's up to us to change that situation. And as clubs, we've got to apply pressure on the refs.
Yeah, I get it.
For years,
the thing is consistency. The thing is, consistency is all we ask for. It's not the same. Everything has to go away. Everything. It's just that it's not consistent enough. And this is what technology was brought in to be. Consistency.
You've got to play the game. You've got to play the game.
Be fair.
You've got to play the game. You saw when Klopp came out and said about the penalties in Man United and everything like that. You've got to play the game, and Arsenal don't play the game.
Do you know what? Like, I understand.
We're too nice as a club.
You both have I understand what you're saying, Kesh. You need to play the game. You just need to crack on with it. But at the same time, what Sebastian is saying does make sense to me in the sense of this is why this was brought in. It was brought in to stop us sitting here moaning and groaning about all these bad decisions, right? Left, right, and centre. But now we're moaning about more bad decisions because more's being picked up and more's being messed up. So where is the line? Where do we draw the line where technology actually takes away from the game rather than adds to it? Sebastian, that's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Listen, I want you to come back on. Keep rolling. We've got to keep rolling for others. But we've got to give everyone 5 minutes at a time, and I don't know how many numbers we're going to get. But Sebastian,
one other question I wanted to ask.
Hit us, bro. Hit us. Yes.
Now we've got Matt Ryan, who just come back from training to do training now. Do you actually think he'll start tomorrow, or do you think he'll go with Runnison because he's been fit all this time? What do you reckon?
I don't think he trusts Runnison personally. Otherwise, why would he be so desperate to get Matt Ryan? I don't know what Kesh thinks, but personally, myself, I think the reason, Ryan's going to play. The mad thing is, none of us know anything about him, but the fans are going crazy about Matt Ryan. So,
the thing is,
he's a decent keeper from Brighton. We have actually seen him. He's not bad.
Do you go to the games down in Brighton, Seb?
Oh no! I don't go to see Brighton. I have a season ticket Arsenal. But...
Season ticket, good man.
Yeah, but I have seen Brighton games when he's played. He's actually looked pretty good. Maybe not this season, but in previous seasons, he's not looked bad.
Everyone's buying into the whole thing that Brighton don't want him. What Brighton's got a better keeper than him. Doesn't mean that he can't come in and do a job.
He was first team for a couple of seasons, wasn't he?
Yeah,
until last season.
We've got Runnison and Ryan, who's a proven Premier League goalkeeper. What the choice is clear.
All right, listen, that's so you've heard it here. So do you think he's going to play Matt Ryan, or do you think he's going to go with Runnison?
I think he'll play. I think he'll play Ryan. I don't think he would have rushed him back today if he wouldn't have done so. Yeah, I think he will.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Thanks for giving us the update on Matt Ryan. Made me feel more confident about tomorrow. Prediction for tomorrow's result?
I'll say 2-1 to Arsenal, but it's going to be difficult. So 2-1 to us, I think we'll bounce.
Perfect. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you. Listen, thank you for coming on, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Pleasure,
yeah?
And sorry about the connection problems at the start.
Don't be silly. Much better now. You're fine. Don't worry. We've all had them. Thank you, bro. Take care of yourself. Right, so good points there. There's some interesting comments. Some saying Seb sounded like Sean Dyche. Well, man, that's quite macho, if you ask me. Jashir at Tomo Facts, bro. Is this AFTV? I don't know why you're saying that. Listen, if you guys want to come and have your say, I'm dropping the link in. Come and have your say. We have got another guy on hold, the F1 Guru. The F1 Guru, do you have a camera? We would prefer you to have a camera. I'm going to bring you in. Where's your camera? Where's your camera, bro?
My camera's dysfunctional.
Your camera is dysfunctional. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Sorry.
All right, no worries. All right, so I'm speaking to the Premiership Lion. So tell me, what's going on here? What do you want to tell us? What do you want to ask us?
What's the hot topic? What should we chat about? You're the hosts.
Well, and you not been watching the show?
No, I tuned in late. It's because
you tuned in late. You got really poor. You got poor mic quality there as well. F1 Guru. It's buzzing now, so I might have to let you go, bro. Thank you. I don't know what that was all about. So if anyone else wants to pop in and have their say, please come on and have your say. We're talking about the game Tuesday. We're talking about VAR. We're talking about the decisions that were made, right or wrong. How do you feel about the appeals, for example? Here's another thing, Kesh. So we've seen two very, very similar situations. We're all going crazy about it. Firstly, do you think he should have been sent off? Luiz, do you think it was, because it's one of them, if you was playing on a Sunday or semi-pro, whatever, and that was one of your strikers going down and that was the opposing centre-back, would you expect the guy to go off?
No.
You still wouldn't?
I think the worst that should have happened is a penalty and a yellow card. It's not. Yeah. Listen, we've ruined the game when we do things like that. And I understand fans might be biased and say, if we was in that position, we'd want it. Of course, we're gonna want it, but we're not reffing the game.
Yeah,
we're not. You know what I mean? So when we're ruining the game over a little thing like the striker's ill flick hitting David Luiz, because I think the contact was more the striker hitting Luiz, and some will say Luiz cut across him, but
you see, if that was my team, if I was playing in the team, if I was playing for Wolves, and Willian Jose ran through David Luiz, it looks like they touched legs or whatever, and Willian Jose went down, I'd want him. I'd expect him to be sent off because my natural instinct is last man. I was always brought up thinking last man, goal scoring opportunity, you're sent off. That's how I was always brought up.
But he wasn't. Was he? Listen, I understand that point of view, but I'm very consistent. It's like with the Tierney penalty that was given against Chelsea. I thought it was soft, but that's because I'm a physical centre back, and just because it's my team and Tierney's my player, don't mean I'm not gonna be truthful about it. In my opinion, the game is getting soft, and there's a lot of these little penalties and free kicks being given when they shouldn't be given. Like if this was a few years ago, these things would be laughed at.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about some of the games, Arsenal United games, There'll be no players left. There will be no players left on the pitch. You might as well just call it. Well, there'll be no Arsenal players left on the pitch, and all the United players will be left on the pitch. But that's another matter. We got Orion, no camera. He's just the J. So Orion, you're in. Where's your camera, bro?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. I can hear you.
Good.
I can't see you, unfortunately.
I've been watching the show all night.
Yeah.
Yep. VAR. Should we talk about VAR?
Go on, bro. Hit me. Talk to me about VAR.
I think with the laws, I think they're fixed laws, so I don't think they're negotiable with the referees when they're making decisions. So when like Arsenal are conceding a penalty against Wolves, you have no right to argue with the referee, but I don't think the referee can be blamed for it because of the fact that even if he's dived, he's 1-on-1, and if he didn't dive, he would have scored. So I think the ref's just like gone to what his instinct is, and VAR doesn't really have as much power as it should have to overturn it. I
mean, isn't that what VAR was brought in for? Firstly, and listen, no, we're just having a convo.
No, it is, but with the way it's governed by the FA, it's totally governed differently compared to the way it is in other countries. So
How so, Kesh?
All right, the VAR, like people, like say Stockley Park or whatever, in other countries, they can overrule what the referee's done. So there's different authority.
We've overruled penalties and stuff, though, haven't we? Recently, I've seen some.
What they say is it's got to be clear and obvious for them to do it.
Okay.
So whatever they deemed as clear and obvious is different to.
Yeah, but what is clear and obvious to the referee, to us? Surely that should be fed down to everybody else. If we don't know, and the refs don't know, what is clear and obvious?
And that's why one of the reasons why they're saying refs should be mic'd up. Stockley Park should be mic'd up.
Rugby refs are.
Yeah, the fans deserve to know what things being said. At least then you can have a clear idea of what's gone wrong or what's been given. But the moment you leave us oblivious to what's being said, you're then going to have your own mind thinking different scenarios and things like that. And that's why a lot of the fans are very mad about what's going on.
I just think there's a difference between. All right, Ryan, you've heard what these guys are saying. There's a difference. I know what you're trying to say is obviously these refs are giving rules, right? So these refs have got to stick to the letter of the law. So it's like you're driving. It's like driving. You've got driving lessons, whatever.
3 points for your license.
Yeah, whatever, right? But then there's the other side, which is what should be, right for the game. The things you see that you think, hold on a minute. I know it's the letter of the law, but it goes against the nature of the game. Where do you draw the line is what we're asking. And what did you think about the Luiz thing? Should he have been sent off, in your opinion?
I personally think it's so difficult because everyone can look at Twitter highlights and go, "Oh, has he actually touched him? Has he dived? How much is the contact? Is it minimal? Is it not? If it was outside the area, would it be a free kick? Things like that." But the fact is, I don't actually know. It's so interesting, this one, because it's so controversial because of where the positioning of the foul was. I'm actually a referee myself. I'm level 6. Level 6 qualified referee. So I'm like the one from the bottom, like the second from bottom, basically. Okay,
all right. Interesting.
So on my course, they were saying that would probably be they're saying that's the referee. That'd be a penalty because basically, for my level, because it's so low, I don't have VAR, so I don't have any assistance and any like replays. So I have to go straight from like my head what I think at the time.
Yeah, of course.
So it's really hard for referees. Like I see why they're under so much pressure in the higher level and why they get so much stick for what they give and things like that. But the referee can't please every single team. So with that, he's going to make some decisions that are really controversial and really maybe not right, even if the teams aren't agreeing with it.
Ryan, let me ask you a question very quickly. Right, well, sorry to interrupt you, but
sorry, mate.
You're as a referee, so I guess you're refereeing games, right?
Like park level and like youth academy.
Okay, all right. So if someone said to you, "Hey, Ryan, just to make sure you don't make any mistakes, I'm going to fly this drone over. I'll keep an eye on everything for you, and if you think you made a mistake, I got you, Ryan." Would you not feel better about that? Would you think to yourself, "Oh, good, so I could run over to the side, quickly check his phone app, see that it's a foul or not, and come back"? Would you feel better about that?
I would personally feel more comfortable and more. I feel like I've got evidence to what I give.
So how are they still making mistakes?
I feel like with VAR last season, the problem was the referees didn't go to the monitor enough. So I don't feel like they had. I think the actual VAR people didn't have as much authority to give like evidence to the referees. This year, it's the opposite.
That's what you hit the nail on the head for me, Ryan. Pitch side cameras, referee. That should just be the connection. That should be the communication. Nothing else. Why is someone in a high tower in Stockley Park sitting there who's not feeling the intensity of the game, the feeling of the game? Why is he not? Why is he making decisions and not the man on the field? Would you not feel, as a referee yourself, a bit sort of undermined if someone's taking a decision off you and saying, "Oh no, you got it wrong," and it's this?
So if I was in like an authority where I could make decisions like this, I would prefer, as myself, as who I am, I prefer, regardless of what the VAR official thinks, I'm making the final decision. But I have to look at it myself. If I don't get the evidence to receive to myself, I feel like I should have every say, and that's what the referee's job is. The guy in the watching a TV in some random booth in near Heathrow Airport, wherever it is, shouldn't really have. Yeah, where's that? Southwest? No, west. Outside West.
No,
London.
I think it's that way. Yeah.
Anyway, it's irrelevant.
Yeah. Who cares?
There was actually a rule if a player goes to like Stockley Park, they can get a red card. I remember reading it. It's so crazy. I read a lot of things. It's
right.
crazy.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that's another story.
Okay.
I think personally, the referee has every say, and but it's important that the VAR official does give him information to help lay where his decisions lie. Do you understand?
Okay. Yeah. So basically, you're saying the same as us. You're saying the guy should be the screen should be on the side, pitch side. Not sure. Someone should just in his ear. Boom, go over there, give it a quick look. We think you might have got it wrong. Done, finished, right? If he then gets it wrong after that as well, then serious questions have to be asked about him. But at least he's still taking that responsibility as a referee. Ryan, thank you very much, mate, for coming on. And you know what? It was really good to get budding referee's opinion as well. So please,
I've been in the industry about 2-3 years now. So I got promoted once. I'm really enjoying it.
Good. So listen, stay in touch. Come on next week. Keep us updated. Any other news on referee stuff? You could be our.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Ryan.
I'm really enjoyed it. So if you want me on, I'm always welcome. If you don't want me on, laters then.
Right, Ryan. Every Friday we got fan cam. Come and give a ref's view. We'll see you next week, mate. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Right, so there you go. So we got a budding referee telling us this, that, and the other. So anyone else in the group want to come on and say hello or say your piece? I'm dropping it in there. This is your final sort of last 20 minutes or so. Kesh, you've heard what's been going on. People was, we're saying, it should be a pitch side thing. We already know that. Look, there's a game coming up after all of this. We've got Villa tomorrow. So I mean, forget all the doom and gloom and all that shenanigans. Tomorrow, listen, we saw what happened to us at the Emirates. Let's be honest, they tore us apart. We were a different outfit then. Have you seen enough in the last few months to suggest it's going to be a different outcome, different performance tomorrow?
I've seen enough, but I feel this game all depends on matching their intensity, because this season they've been playing at a different intensity, and I feel when Arsenal go into games and they don't manage to replicate the same intensity as the opponent, that's where we let ourselves down. As you saw in the first game against Southampton, and then you saw how we matched them up in the following game. We were playing them at their own game, pressing them, getting in their face, and that's how you get into the game. You can't just. I hate that feeling of trying to switch it on within the next 45 minutes. Like, you need to be on it from the start of the game.
Yeah. And
that's one of the things that I feel Mikel's trying to apply to a game now, because far too many games we've gone into, we start too late.
We started a lot. I mean, we started really quick against Wolves, out of the blocks against Wolves.
We started very quick, and that's what you want to see, because you're meant to start as you need to go on, not start then see how you can go on. You know what I mean? Because when you do that, you don't know what surprise other team's gonna have for you. That team can come out on a fast start. So we need to start as quick as possible. I do feel we've got enough to get something out of the game. Obviously, there's going to be a few changes in the team.
Well, this is it. We've got Matt Ryan, but then it's gonna be the changes are quite straightforward though, aren't they? It's just Matt Ryan and Gabriel, I'm guessing.
Gabriel, yeah.
like these quick starts that you've been talking about, this made me think, because you're right. The last few games we've been starting a lot quicker, sharper. Our mentality's changed. We seem a lot more confident going the other way. I mean, it's having a knock-on effect. Look at the likes of Pepe, for example. He looks like he wants to play in that team now.
Mm-hmm.
He's looked at that team from the bench, and something for him has clicked.
Yeah.
And he's gone, I want to be in this team, and you can see the desire. Mm-hmm. So I think the reason we're probably starting quicker now is we know what we're doing. Whereas before, he was trying to sort out that defense. We're sitting back and we're waiting and seeing and hoping that something would happen the other way. Yeah. Now we know what we're doing. We're like, right, we get the ball.
More balance.
Give it to Thomas. Thomas will give it to him. He'll give it to Smith-Rowe, and we know what we're doing. So I think that's probably why we've had such quick starts. So you made a good point there. That makes a lot of sense to me. So, I mean, we still obviously got a few things we need to tweak. And
without a doubt.
This is a team that has a lot of creativity. And I tell you who has impressed me over the last few months that I've watched him, John McGinn. John McGinn is
a quality player.
Quality player. I mean, I'd have him in our midfield. He's everywhere.
Douglas Luiz. They've got a few players that I'll take.
Obviously, Grealish, Barkley. I mean, I think Barkley's out at the moment. I'm not sure. I mean, he's injured a lot, but they have got enough going the other way to cause us problems. And a lot of that is guile and creativity. But I think what we've got different to the Villa game last is I think this time John McGinn's not going to dictate the midfield. And I don't think this time they're going to have that sort of possession where we're sitting on the back foot and Grealish is getting all sorts of opportunities to come at us. So I think they're gonna meet a different Arsenal, and I think we're going to be sort of chomping to get revenge for that defeat in the Emirates. So I reckon we're going to win tomorrow. I'm going to be aggrieved for what happened as well. You'd like to think, be a bit pissed off, and there'd be something in the tank to make them want to win. So I don't know. It's one of them, but it is a concern for me that I don't really know much about Matt Ryan. Oh, we've got someone coming in, a guy called King something or other. Is it King Salt? So let's have a quick, before I let him in, let's have a quick look at what people in the chat saying. Sire Amin, I will tell Partey to play at centre midfield. Partey need to find space at midfield area for Xhaka to then pass him. I thought Partey did play centre midfield. Mad ramblings of a middle-aged man. I keep thinking of myself when I say this. VAR is being misused. Decision-making is being taken away from refs. Their performance levels will be reduced. Well, this is another thing, what we could touch on as well while we're doing this. How poor are our officials? And then none of them are in the World Cups. And we're meant to be, like, leading the way in this sort of thing. So what's happened to our officials over the last few years? They're meant to, some of these guys are meant to have turned professional, but they've got worse. It's crazy. King Sake, Gambian Guna. I think that's who we've got now. Let me add him in and see if we can hear him. King, are you there? Doesn't look like it. We'll remove you. Come back in if you can. If you want to come back in, King, I'll drop it in there. Yeah, so Kesh, I mean, what has happened to the quality of our officials over the last few years, and why have they got so bad?
I don't know. Bog standard, but I think that's a question that needs to be aimed at the FA themselves.
It's crazy. Like the fact that none of them are in massive tournaments. Is that another? We don't get World Cups or European Cups here hardly, do we? Let's be honest. We've apparently invented the game. I don't think we did, but we were pioneers of the game. Last time we got the World Cup was '66. Is officiating the part of the issue? Do they think that our officiating's not up to it? I just don't understand. Look, there's a few others in here saying the same sort of thing. It is 10 minutes to go. You've got 5 minutes before I stop putting the link in. So if you want to come in and have your say, please do so. King Cell is still trying to come in. I'm seeing if you connect. Let's have a look. Hello, King. Can you hear me?
Connection.
Hello? No. Can't hear you, King. I'm going to have to let you go, bro. Sorry, man. Right, so look at a few more things in here. Arsenal, what was the difference between the Southampton defender sending off, which got successfully appealed, and David Luiz's? Well, yeah. I think that the main thing in that is that the lack of contact. from the Southampton defender. There wasn't any at all. We're getting some more in here. I've just seen King's face and now it's disappeared. No, King, keep trying, bruv. Keep trying, King. I'm trying to get you in, bruv. I saw you a minute ago. Yeah. So basically, look, if you don't come in the next couple of minutes, I'm gonna have to shut this down soon, guys. Sorry. So yeah, Kesh, what was the difference between the Southampton one and David Luiz for you?
The Southampton one was Martial actually dived, and the defender actually made a clear pullback motion, as in trying to get out of the way.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Okay, I agree with you. YS and a picture. We're getting people without video cameras, but we'll do that. YS, can you hear me? YS? Yo. Not getting much luck with these connections. Maybe I'm not sure where they're coming from, but it's unfortunate. We're getting quite a few people in here and not getting the connection, so I'm not sure if they're calling from abroad or whatever. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to get you in here. I'm not sure if there's an issue with StreamYard right now, but yeah, I've tried my best to get you guys in. So look, I think I'm going to wrap this up. To be honest with you, I think we've covered everything. Kesh, your prediction for tomorrow? What are you saying?
I'm gonna go for a 2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 Arsenal. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the same 2-1 Arsenal. I think we're going to have a lot of the ball. I think we'll probably concede the first goal, and then hopefully switch on and score in the first half, and then one in the second half. That's probably what I think, but we'll see. So I'm saying 2-1 Arsenal. Kesh says 2-1 Arsenal. Drop your predictions in the link. I'm going to leave it at that tonight, guys. I know there's been a few of you trying to get in. So, look, I'm going to go. Peace out. I'm Lavanja. This has been the Arsenal Lounge. This has been Kesh. Look out for Kesh. He's on other shows as well. Follow him on @_Kesh_, and I'm on @Lavanja on Twitter. So I'll see you guys. Thank you for coming. Peace out.